All right, to speak more on this, let's now welcome Dr. Siyabonga Madlala, Chairman of the South African Farmers Development Association. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Madlala. Well, as the provincial government launches the province's planting season in KwaZulu-Natal, there's ongoing concern, of course, about the drought in the province, as we've heard in that previous clip. What's the extent of this drought and how has it affected farmers in the 4 regions?
Thank you for having me, and greetings to the whole of South Africa as well. Look, it's a difficult one for a farmer. I must say these adverse weathers have become a norm. If it's not floods, it's drought. If it's not drought, it's frost. If it's not frost, it's fires. It's become so difficult because as a farmer, you need to harvest your crop and again put aside for planting again in the new season. We thank the department for the launching of the multi-planting season, but it is allocated for only a few because government cannot afford to subsidize all farmers. I must say the past season has been tough. The drought has actually affected us. We did not make money. We lost money in the past season, and it's making it hard even for the banks to finance us to get back to the fields again. Lucky are those that are actually getting government funding.
And I mean, some of the stories that we've been hearing by some of our journalists that are covering this, hearing of how owners say their cattle die as they get stuck in the mud while they search for water in those dried up dams. I mean, what assistance, if any, are you then getting from government?
I think it is a catastrophe. Government's help only comes too late. If we can look at what is happening right now, in the areas of Zululand, Jozini, around there, as you drive past, you see cattle carcasses on the ground. It's not only about them getting stuck in the mud; it's about them not even having something to feed on or to graze on. As we speak, in the sugar sector, for instance, there's been a significant drop in yields. Some are counting 15%, others 20%. Which is largely their profit. If you're not going to cut 15% of your crop, it means you've lost your profit for the year. It's catastrophic. What help we need is beyond what government can do in a quick and very swift way. So we as farmers, we've always been resilient. I think we've developed a thick skin. We've known that it's about taking a risk. And farming is not a child's play, and it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I must warn everyone out there that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. If people are so used to tenders that they quickly get their money, it's not about tendering here. It's about we're giving your heart and soul into it. It's a livelihood. That if this year you lost, you come again the following year, hoping that you'll come back and make some money.
And I mean, just listening to Premier Ntuli saying and calling on traditional leaders, in fact, in the province to play a meaningful role in ensuring that subsistence farmers are assisted in order to curb hunger and poverty. I mean, how far will their intervention as traditional leaders assist, do you think?
Well, especially for small-scale farmers, the farmers are farming on communal land, that is land administered by traditional leaders. We are appealing on all traditional leaders to support the subsistence farmer in terms of, firstly, tenure security, ensuring that even if it's a gogo or a widow or an old man, they mustn't feel insecure about land. But also, when farming into vegetables, your neighbor has got livestock. There's got to be some level of protection for the veggie farmer. Generally, you find that livestock graze over people's produce, and there's no consequence thereafter. But Izindunas and our traditional leaders have got a role to play in the peacekeeping and ensuring that people are protected in their lands, and also availing the land. I mean, the youth, as it were, is crying out, is crying foul. I mean, you've got so many graduates out there with no land to farm, and there is land in the communal space, and that land sometimes is more fertile than even those on the farms. But what it needs is a lot of infrastructure development. I mean, we'd appeal on government to actually clear the bushes and put some fences and allow the youth to start farming. And that's where you're going to create jobs. There are no jobs, as it were.
So we heard also that the Department of KwaZulu-Natal, Department of Agriculture in that province will be assisting particularly cattle owners in this draft, in the drought hit areas. We know, of course, we're saying 4 regions. I'm concerned about your earlier comment saying, as much as you appreciate the help from government, it's not going to go a long way. So the question then becomes, what are the long-standing, implementations that need to happen here? Particularly pertaining to that outcome of the summit that was held in the province recently. I mean, from a long-term perspective, what then needs to happen, because we are going to see these weather patterns continue going forward, in the event of climate change, etc.
Oh God, I wish I had an answer. Climate change, as you rightly say, it's an act of God. It's beyond anyone's control. And even our own government cannot really be swift enough to react promptly on issues of climate change. Remember, no one knows until it happens that the catastrophe is coming, and perhaps sometimes even too late that we hear that the cyclone is coming and people haven't even done anything to protect themselves. So I think it's a question of accepting that we are in a phase where we are facing adverse weathers. Farmers need to start now farming in a climate-friendly way, try and be ready for these kinds of disasters and prepare themselves in time. I think we got to assist our government as much as we can, because government will not have all the resources we need. But I must say, we appreciate what government does. But SCM processes will take too long sometimes for assistance to get to the farmer in time of need. So it's a question of knowing your space as a farmer, knowing where your help is, and knowing that it may not come in time, and be always prepared to actually, close the gap. I'm happy that in the sugar industry, we've sort of advanced quite quickly. We've bought our small-scale farmers some yellow equipment, to ensure that if there are floods and the roads are washed away, they can quickly put their own plant into action and repair their roads so that they can extract their produce, which has been difficult in the past years, waiting for provincial transport to come through for them. And more so, it's access roads, which are not generally being looked after. So at least there is some action there in the sugar industry. I must applaud the sugar industry for being proactive on that. I think other sectors also need to do that. Start helping government, bring in what you can in terms of infrastructure development, and also, yellow equipment to assist the road infrastructure in the rural space. So I think what we need to do is gear up as industry, gear up as a sector, because we cannot 100% depend on government.
Absolutely. Dr. Madlala, thank you so much for your time. That's all the time we have. Unfortunately, Dr. Siyabonga Madlala is the chairman of the South African Farmers Development Association, looking at those drought-stricken regions in KwaZulu-Natal.